Welcome to Lisa Needle Crafts and the Lisa Crochet first beginning video. Okay, just for the purposes of you being able to see, hopefully better, how to do this, I'm using this super bulky yarn and a size and crochet hook. I would recommend for you to use a size J or 6mm hook and a medium weight yarn, which is number 4 that we talked about in the intro video. So first of all, there are different ways to hold the hook. Some people hold the hook like a pencil, and if that feels comfortable for you, you may want to try some different positions for holding the hook to see what does feel more comfortable, what's a little easier. And then there's also where the hook's kind of resting on your index finger. You'll see people crochet that way. For me, neither of those are comfortable, so what you don't see probably in crochet manuals is somebody teaching you to hold your hook like this, like a stick. But that is what I do, and I have for so many years. I'm not going to be able to change it at this point because it just doing it this way doesn't feel comfortable for me. Now we'll show you how to get your beginning slip knot stitch on the hook. And there are 2 ways I'm going to show you. The first one is using your left hand. If you're left-handed, just do the opposite of everything I say, just about, as far as your hands go. So drape the yarn, here's the top of the yarn or the yarn end, over your palm, wrap it around these 2 fingers so that you make a crisscross. Then slide the hook down your index finger, just put it underneath this top yarn, hook this tail end that I'm holding with my thumb, and pull it through this hole that we have between our fingers, just a little bit like that. Now I'm going to carefully slip my fingers out of there, hold on to these yarn ends, and then pull it. Got a big hole there. This is a slip knot. So handily pull the yarn apart like that, and it will now be snug against the hook. So that's the first way you can do a slip knot. And it's really pretty simple. But the way I have done a slip knot is so remedial. I don't ask me why I still do it this way, but I do, because maybe I am just a little bit elementary. It's called a pretzel knot. So you take one end and you put it like that, make a loop, and the other end you lay across that way. Now, when I've taught people this before, what they've done with the pretzel is just taken one end and done a pretzel like that. Do not do it that way because you will not achieve a slip knot. You have to take this side, do a loop, then this side, and do a loop. Can't do the pretzel all with one side of the yarn. That's very one-sided. Okay, so now we have our pretzel. All pretzels have these 2 bumps and then the bottom. You want to focus on the side or the bump that has this yarn laying over both of the bumps. This side, this yarn is above that one, and then this side is below that one. So ignore that side. You want to focus on this side. This is the side we're going to use. And I'm going to put my hook underneath this bottom piece, over the one that's going over the bump pieces of yarn, and then under that loop, like that. And then you just pull both ends, and then you have your slip knot that way. And again, tighten it up so it's snug against your hook like that. And this is a really long yarn tail, so let's do it again. And I don't want such a long yarn tail. Yeah, and yes, I could just cut it with scissors, but this way we can practice doing another pretzel. And this time I'm going, because it doesn't, just wanted you to see that it doesn't matter if you start from underneath the bottom of the pretzel or the top. What does matter is that you do this side of your yarn and then this side of your yarn to make the pretzel, and then they use the bump that's underneath. Both of these pieces of yarn are underneath the other one. So now we can go under, over, under with our hook. Like I said, it doesn't matter if you start from the bottom or the top loop, and you pull it tight, and there you go. And you want to keep the yarn end at about, I don't know, 4 to 6 inches long, not so short that it's going to somehow slip through there, but if it's any longer than that, it just gets in the way. Now for your left hand, or again if you're left-handed, you'll have this like that. There are different ways to weave the yarn through your fingers. What I do that's the most comfortable for me, and you'll want to maybe try some different things to find out what's comfortable for you, is I weave it with the back of my hand facing me, the yarn on the top of my pinky, under my middle 2 fingers, and then over my index finger. The index finger is used for me, and the way I have my yarn configured. Is that a word? I think so. Configured? Maybe configurated is not a word. It does the tension, which will make more sense later. So you get your yarn weaved through your fingers like that. Then your middle finger, and you can use the ring finger and pinky too if you want, and your thumb hold the knot, the slip knot that we created. And when you do that, we have this opening right here. And that's where, with your hook kind of facing up or facing toward you, go in that hole under the yarn and then hook the yarn. This is called a yarn over. And then pull it through. I'm kind of holding this knot so that it doesn't, with my index finger, if you have this really tight, as the yarn goes down the hook narrows, and so will this slip knot, making it impossible for the hook to fit through. So you want to watch out for that, and that's why I'm holding it open a little bit with my thumb and my middle finger so that I can pull the hook through. I'm going to turn it upside down so you can see through that loop, that slip knot loop that I had on the hook. And then you pull, once you have completed that chain stitch is what that's called, what we just did, you slide it down the hook where it's wider again, because it opens it up a little bit. And if it's really tight, just make it a little bit looser. But you don't want a big loop here either, because then it's just going to come off your whole crochet hook. So hold the chain stitch you just completed, and then we're going to repeat. Go in that hole by your thumb, under the yarn, up and under, hook it with your hook. Then I'm going to slide this loop that's on the hook up and pull this hook down through that loop. Now pull it back down to widen that up, loosen it a little bit. Again, you don't want big loops like this because it will make for ununiform stitches. So you just want it not tight around the hook, but not open and loose. So we'll keep on going down, yarn over, using correct terminology, and then holding the stitches that we've completed near the hook so that I can control the, I guess, circumference of that, diameter, pull that through. That's getting a little too mathematical. So the steps to it are go under to yarn over, pick up the yarn. That'd be the first step. Now slide it up the hook, this loop on your hook, pull the hook through. That's the second step. Slide it down your hook down to this wide part again, the third step. The fourth step is to readjust your fingers and hold the the chain stitch you just completed, so your fingers are closer to the hook. And then you just repeat those 4 steps. 1, yarn over. 2, pull it through. 3, slide it down the hook. 4, reposition your fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can actually get a couple of stitches done without moving your rest of your fingers up closer, skipping that step, but I wouldn't do more than 2 chain stitches before you do that 4th step and move your fingers up closer to the hook. So now that we have a few of these chain stitches, this is what the top of the chain stitches look like. If I put it this way, they kind of look, each stitch kind of looks like a V, sort of, kind of, sort of. And each one of those is a chain stitch. Here's what the back of it looks like. And there you go. Now let's try this with the yarn you will be using. Here's my J hook, my medium yarn. I'm going to stick with what I've done my whole life and do this pretzel. We'll go down this time instead of up from the bottom to get started. That's a little longer than I want it to be, so I'm going to cut it. Now weave your fingers with the yarn like so, and it's the same thing. I'm going to hold onto that slip knot, and the first step is in the hole, yarn over, slide it up the hook, pull the hook through for the next step. Third step, slide it down your hook and re-grab and hold the chain stitch you just worked. Yarn over, pull it through, slide it down, re-grab. Yarn over, pull it through, and I'm not going to re-grab. Yarn over, pull it through, now I will. Yarn over, pull it through, slide it down the hook, re-grab, yarn over, slide it through the hole, slide it down the hook, and re-grab. And as you get going, and what you just saw that last time, I usually am combining those steps together. I'm pulling the yarn through the loop that was on the hook. I'm re-grabbing and pulling down at the same time. And like I said, once in a while, I don't re-grab for a couple of stitches. So what you'll want to do is practice doing at least 100 of these chain stitches until it becomes very comfortable for you. This is a vital step in crocheting. Once you've really mastered a chain stitch and your chain stitches are nice and even, you just can't underrate how important that is. The rest of the stitches will be a breeze if you practice a good chain stitch where all of the stitches are very uniform and you're not getting these big loopy kind of stitches like this that can be all different sizes. Want to keep that snug right there. And on the opposite side of that is beginning crocheters a lot of times get this tension finger right here. When you pull back on your index finger, it makes that tighter. And when you leave it for your index finger forward, then it can open that up to slide out and make this loop bigger. So this index finger controls that tension, but if it's too tight, sometimes people will give up crocheting because they just are fighting trying to get the hook through that hole because it's just so tight, and it's frustrating, and you get these little tiny stitches that when you try and do your next row of single crochet, is what we'll be doing, you can't even get the tip of your needle inside of there because it's so tight. So practice just doing these until it does feel comfortable, when it's not stressful and getting your shoulders in a knot in the back of your neck. But that it's fun, because it should be fun, and it can be very fun and relaxing. So keep on practicing at least 100 chain stitches. It doesn't have to be all on the same chain rope. You can do a bunch and pull them apart, and you can stop at any point and do the whole thing if you want, or just stick the needle back in there or hook and just start again. If you don't like these, you got a couple of these big ones, or you got a really tight one and you don't want it on there, take them out, those couple of stitches off, and then pick up where you were before and practice some more again. So I hope you have lots of fun with that. Once, like I said, you've mastered that, you're ready to move on to this whole new world of crochet. If you don't want to do a project right now with what you've learned so far, stop the video and just keep practicing your chain stitches. Otherwise, just pretend like we're in a crochet group with some lovely company and get yourself something nice to drink in a really cute mug, of course, and put your feet up and have fun. We're going to make a friendship bracelet. So let's get ourselves a J size hook, and we're going to use some really cute variegated bright colored yarn. This is 100% cotton yarn, which I like for the friendship bracelets because it feels softer on your skin. This friendship bracelet will be really apropos because if you watch all of the oncoming crochet videos, we're going to be really good friends. Trust me. Start with the slip knot. And then you'll want to chain 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 46, magic, huh? 47, 48, 49, and 50. Now I'm going to just cut the yarn and just pull that thread through that loop, pull it tight. Then the two ends of yarn, this one's so long I gotta cut it. Okay, these two ends I'm just going to tie in a square knot. Left over right, right over left. There. I didn't know if I was going to get that square knot. Then trim those ends. Pull it tight. So look what we did. Now I'm just going to take the loop and do a figure 8. Now I've got 2 loops that will slip over my other hand for our friendship bracelet. Isn't that fun? Okay, whenever you have a crochet group, there should be lots of stimulating conversation. So I have a quote. It says, "You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream." I didn't create that one. That's by C.S. Lewis. How perfect is that? Have crocheting be your new fabulous goal. The next video is learning how to do a single crochet. That'll be fun.